a test audience here. Well, we'd like to get started. My name is Dave Wallman. I'm the Senior Project Coordinator. And first of all, I want to thank everybody for showing up. We're kind of doing things a little bit differently this year. We're doing the training before the presentations. And we're doing this because the nights of the presentations, when you come in at 5:30 for dinner again, then you'll have a half hour till they start. And it'll be less rushed, I think, than in the past years. When people came in at 4 or 4:30 for the training, we're here for the training and then go right into the presentation. And also, 2 of my 3 trainers just had babies. So that sort of started a thing. How the hell else can we do this? So we'll see how it goes this year. I'm going to turn it over here very quickly to Ms. Joanne Ham, who is our speech and debate coach and English teacher and our in-house expert on speech and theater. And she's been doing our senior project training, I think, every year since we started. And at the end of her presentation, I'll give a little bit more information, more about the logistics of the night of the presentations themselves, in terms of some cards and stopwatches and things like that. So, Joanne Ham, the floor is yours. Is that good?
Well, hello everybody. Glad to see you're here and looking so chipper at the end of a long, hard work day. Are there any people here who've been here before? You have judged before. Tell you what, we'd like to hear from a staff member, a parent, an interested citizen. So 4 or 5 of you would just stand up right now who would like to and tell us why you returned. 4 or 5 of you would like to stand up.
You know, you have to count.
No, I don't do that. Yes.
I'm a parent. This is my 3rd or 4th year judging. It's always fun to see the kids. There's a wide range of abilities in these presentations. And now I'm particularly interested because my son is now a junior, so next year he'll be doing a senior project. So I really want to know what the requirements are.
Pretty solid motivation.
Yes, I'm a parent as well. This is my 3rd year. My daughter is a senior this year, so I initially got into it to see what it was like, and I enjoyed it so much I want to keep doing it. It's a lot of fun. Thank you.
Do we have a staff member?
I'm a teacher in the district. I teach child in the middle school and after elementary school, and it's just fun to see old students.
Well, I think there are a couple of things you ought to know ahead of time before we get going on this. One is that the vast majority of seniors have never taken public speaking. I know because I teach the class. There are probably about 6% of the student body a year takes the class. So they don't have any formal experience with it. Their experience for this presentation is confined to the cumulative force of what they've done in all subjects for the last several years. And then when they get to senior English, in most cases, maybe every case I'm not positive, but I think probably it's true, the senior teachers provide some rehearsal time during English class. They may or may not do the entire presentation in front of their peers. Maybe it's just a portion of it. In other cases, it's the full thing. Okay? And that's their speaking delivery experience up to this point. And that is why we've taken the philosophy that even though we care a lot about rigor and high standards, we also need to be realistic. And we've taken the philosophy of the AP exam in that when we grade those papers, we are asked, we grade those exams, we are asked to leave our grading system at home and to reward students for what they do well. So it's not a picky, well, you know, this was a problem, that was a problem, and so on and so forth. There's a lot riding on this. And you have to keep remembering throughout the course of the training here that these kids are 17 and 18. And to expect them to perform the way 35 and 45-year-olds would under similar circumstances is not only unrealistic, it's unreasonable. Okay? And that doesn't mean nobody fails. It doesn't mean you can't give lower scores. It just means that you have to, I think, go with that whole notion of reward them for what they do well, as much as possible. Okay? The task is very sharply delineated into its component parts on the task page that you have in front of you that says Task 4 Presentation. So they actually know what to include in the introduction, what to have in the body, what 3 possible components are, and the conclusion. Dave Walton will talk to you about the timing and time cards and all that kind of thing at the end tonight. I'll just be going over the scoring part of this. If you would turn to the presentation rubric content page right now. What we've done in the past that seems to have worked decently is to look only at the distinguished section, being optimistic, all right, rather than looking all the way across, because you can read that if you need to make some distinctions. We don't have time in an hour and a half to see the presentations, do a scoring for each one, and read every single one of these all the way across on 2 rubrics. It's just not doable. And so we found that it works well for people to just go down the column that says distinguished. And the other thing we've learned is that we're not going to read to you. I know as a member of an audience myself, I don't like having a PowerPoint read to me. I've already read it. By the time the presenter starts reading it, I'm through. And I do think it's a waste of time. So what I'm going to ask you to do is to read each little box. And if you have a question, there's something that's not clear to you, you ask. And then if I have something special I want to point out, I'll do that. Okay? So for introduction, for distinguished, for 9 to 10 points, the only thing I would like to insert in here is that there are many ways to be compelling. You don't have to burst into song or do a tap dance at the beginning, although some kids have done that and it's worked well. But it had to go with the product. There are many, we like to say at the AP grading, there are many rooms in the house of 9. 9 is the highest score you can get at an essay. Many rooms in the house of 9. And there are many rooms here for the compelling part of an introduction, okay? One of the things they seem to have a hard time doing from time to time, interestingly enough, you wouldn't think this would be the hard part, but we English teachers struggle with teaching them thesis. The main purpose, the main point, the goal. And some of them don't say it right away, and they should be saying it and stating it clearly in the introduction. Okay? Any questions on that block? Yes?
Is there a reason you chose the word product over project?
Yes, because the product isn't the project. The product is what comes out of the project.
Okay.
Okay? The project is the entire experience from the beginning to the end, including process and mentor, and everything else they have to do. There are other requirements. And the product is the outcome and the result of that entire project. Okay, moving to body. That should be well organized. What we have tried to stress to the students is that it's very helpful for the audience if at the end of the introduction they do what I call a forecasting statement, where they tell the audience in advance how they're breaking down their speech. And they give them a list of 3 signposts, because there are 3 components. And then as they present the components, you hear those signposts again to keep you organized as a listener. Sometimes they do that forecasting statement very dutifully and then forget to say them over again, and you're wandering around in the speech wondering where you are at this point. That would be an organization issue.